In this video, I'll be talking about the entire consulting recruiting process from the consulting firm's point of view. The reason that I think that this is very useful is that as candidates, we often get a little bit anxious and want to know where we stand versus one another. Now, obviously, we don't have access to that information, and our entire preparation becomes counterproductive. However, if we do have a clear understanding of what each step of the process is and what the purpose of each step is from the consulting firm's point of view, we know where to really focus our attention, and therefore we're able to prepare ourselves significantly better. The four steps of the recruitment process we'll be focusing on are firstly, shortlisting for the interviews, secondly, the buddy process, third, placement dinners, and fourth and finally, the interview itself. The shortlisting process can be thought of as a three-step process. While no individual consulting firm's shortlisting process is likely to match exactly what I describe, you can imagine each and every consulting firm's process to more or less work the way I'm about to describe it. The reason is that while there might be minor differences in one step or another, the end outcome or the net effect is pretty much as I will be describing it. The first step of shortlisting is an automated processing of sorts, where very standardized fields such as your CGPA, your work experience, or your undergraduate college are used to filter down the total stack of resumes to maybe the top 100 or so. These resumes will then be paid a lot more attention. In the second step, all of the resumes are then manually scored through one of two methods. My favorite is the peaks method because it's a little easier for us to visualize. In this, each resume is looked at, and if a bucket stands out, that's called out as a peak. If, however, the bucket is average or even fairly good, that's just not a peak. Now, what is done is that any resume which has 3 or maybe even 2.5 peaks is shortlisted. If you have less than that, then your resume is not shortlisted. In reality, a closer approximation of what happens is that each and every point is actually scored, given maybe 1 point, half a point, or 0. And those resumes which score the highest are shortlisted. However, the peaks method is a little easier to visualize, especially given that we don't actually have the mapping of resume points versus scores. In the final step of shortlisting, we already have a list of the top 100 odd resumes, and that too rank ordered or scored. Now, a partner will have a look at each of these resumes and really identify who are the top 50 candidates that they want to interview. In this step, they have a look at the human element and also factor in who would be a truly interesting candidate to interview. As such, the finally selected 50 are not necessarily the resumes which scored the highest, but will be close with a minor amount of deviation. To get a quick idea of what this overall process will effectively look like, we can simplify the whole thing. We can think of it as us picking out maybe the top 5 most interesting ideas from our resume. For each of these, we'll evaluate if it's a peak or not, which is whether it is better than what 90% of our batch would have in a similar area or not. From this, we count the total number of our peaks. We order the entire batch based on the number of peaks. And beyond that, for any further distinction, we just look at what else is interesting on our resume. And in doing so, you should roughly get the top 50 odd candidates. Next, we look at the buddy process, where soon after we're shortlisted, we get mapped to 1 or 2 junior consultants or associates or what have you in the consulting firm. The reason that consulting firms have this buddy process is threefold. Firstly, and overwhelmingly, the idea is that they want to provide each and every candidate with a resource to ensure that their overall practice and case solving is on track. The consulting firm wants to interview good candidates, and the buddy's main purpose is to ensure that you are at the top of your game when you go in for the case interview. Secondly, and to a smaller degree, the idea is to sell the consulting firm to the candidate. The idea here is that candidates who are good and interesting are likely to also be more naturally drawn to the consultants who are already inside the firm and are more likely to hit it off and therefore be more interested in the consulting firm on their own. And finally, the more contentious one is that buddies at some consultancies sometimes have a say in the ordering of the hot list or the order in which the top candidates will get interviewed. However, I would for all practical purposes completely ignore this point. The reason is that even at those few firms where this is the case, the amount of change that will be brought about by a buddy in the hot list order is pretty negligible when compared to the impact that just your resume on its own will have on the hot list ordering. Therefore, my takeaway would be that for the buddy process, really use your buddies to the fullest to understand enough about each and every consultancy firm and to ensure that your case prep is pretty much on track. Third is the placement dinner, which is a little more confusing. Once again, there are three reasons that any consultancy firm would actually want to have a placement dinner. The first reason is overwhelmingly to sell their brand to each of the candidates. The idea here is that they'll give you nice food, take you out to a nice fancy place, bring out their best-in-class partners and try to create a strong impression in your mind. Secondly, the claim is that they hope to answer a lot of doubts in the candidates' minds. While this might be genuine, I think that it's a little difficult to get very meaningful doubts cleared in such a forum. That being said, I would still encourage each of you to try to interact in such a forum just for the general practice of the same. And third, there are very few companies that do look at the dinner as well as a way of identifying who are their top candidates, who are they most interested in interviewing, and therefore coming up with their hot list. Once again, I would take this with a pinch of salt because there are only so many companies that do this, and the overall impact it's going to have on the hot list as compared to a variety of other factors at play is once again fairly negligible. And finally, the interview itself, which, let's face it, is really the only important process effectively amongst all four. So let's have a look at what is being assessed in the interview and what the overall structure of the interview is. Each interviewer has a large checklist of items that they're evaluating you on. We can look at this as broadly just three categories on which you're being evaluated. The first is problem solving and creativity. For this, the interviewer gives you a case and evaluates how you solve the case. Keep in mind that they're not checking whether you successfully solve the case or not, but they're really looking at how you go about solving the case. Secondly, they look at communication and teamwork. This is evaluated throughout the interview. They look at how you're able to communicate to the interviewer. They also look at how well you're able to engage while solving the case. Third, they look at personality fit and likability. Each consulting firm has their own dimensions of what kind of candidates are their kind of people, but without getting into those complexities, we can imagine this as two simple tests. The first is the airplane test, which simply put is the interviewer trying to figure out if they were stuck with you on a plane for a good few hours together, would they be able to stand you or not? The second is what I think is fairly similar to the Turing test in ways. Here, the interviewer just throws you a couple of curveballs. They ask a few HR questions which do not really fit in with what you were talking about. The idea is to ensure that if your answers are very rehearsed, they're able to detect that. The consulting case interview has 4 parts to it. The first part is a 2 to 5 minute introduction session. The second is that for the remaining part of the first 10 minutes, you would either run through your resume or you would have a chance to organically discuss your achievements, experiences, and who you are as a person. Third is the bulk of the interview, which is the case discussion. As the case comes to an end, the fourth and final part of the interview would be an opportunity for you to ask the interviewer a few questions to better understand their experiences or the firm. And that is comprehensively the 4 different major processes which are a part of recruiting for consulting firms. If this video or other videos in the series seem relevant and useful to you, do remember to like, share, and subscribe.